I was a few weeks ago. I was speaking at an event for the California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, right? And one of the questions that came up was this idea around young Latinos and how loyal they are to brands and what's driving it. So I kind of shared a theory, and I want to run it by you. Let me know what you think, okay? So my theory was that, look, when we think about shopper behavior, and you go back, 10, 20 years, let's say 20 years, a lot of what we shopped, yes, it starts with, brand awareness, consideration, there's all the marketing that goes into even me knowing what a brand may actually be.
Right.
But then the moment of truth, the moment of I'm in the aisle and I'm going to make a choice, was also very driven by placement.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's
Absolutely.
why brands were constantly fighting about being at that prime placement, shelf space, right? Not only how much of the shelf you get, but where in the which shelf you get, right? So, like,
I worked for Nielsen in Mexico, so I
right,
knew
so
that.
okay, so my theory so far is okay, right? All right, so I think that was a big driver. So the more a brand was out there investing with awareness, and people were like, oh, I'm gonna go get whatever, Tide or whatever the brand is, and then when I go to this grocery store and it continues to be in a very good placement, then people continue to be pretty brand loyal. And it's hard for other brands to break in, right? It's hard to break in because you cannot spend as much necessarily to reach them.
You don't have the volume.
You don't have the volume, you don't have the shelf space, so you have this dynamic where it's kind of, it rewards the winners to some extent, right?
Exactly.
Now let's fast forward and we think about how people are purchasing things, right? Well, you are still going to the store, shelf space, important, but you now have a couple of additional things. I can now search things on Amazon, and I can see related products. I can now get ads that are being served to me on Instagram of either people that I follow or things that I'm interested in. And all of a sudden, you have these competing brands that can break through and get to you in a manner that wasn't really easy before, and with an ability for me to transact with those brands way easier. So I think it creates this dynamic where you're able to sample all these different brands. Well, I think the interesting point that you're bringing up, so at least that's my theory as to why there's a lot less 100%. Brand loyalty.
Absolutely.
But I think the element that you're bringing up is one that should not be taken for granted by brands, which is, but what you do as a brand and how you show up to community also matters.
100%.
And the moment you take that for granted, we don't, I guess we could talk about some of the ones that feel like taking it for granted, but the point is, like, when that's happened, like, you pay for it.
Absolutely.
And the community shows up and they don't show up, and then that's a problem.
It's the two things.
Yeah.
It's what you just said, which we called the democratization of consumption.
Yeah.
Right? What happened with music 25 years ago with Pandora and Spotify and Apple Music, where you actually can listen to anything you want. And if you like it, you can listen 1,000 times. You don't have to have an interview and advertising. You don't have to have a radio station. You actually can look. So that's how Bad Bunny emerged. That's how Peso Pluma emerged. That's how all these people that didn't have a huge budget emerged and became the biggest hits. So you're absolutely right. So one is that, the democratization of consumption, and the other one is the strong and demanding opinion of specifically the Latino community as to how are they being treated by them. The awareness of the power of their purse, especially the young people, of the power of their purse, and so the brands will have to step up 10 times more. It used to be with music that if you had a good record label, you actually were the king. Now it's not.